Hello there and welcome. My name is Dr. Landman. You can go ahead and take a seat, get comfortable. Today's session will focus on Transcendental Meditation as it was taught to me far back in the 70s when I was very young. But it has been very beneficial to me throughout my entire life. When it was taught to me, it contained some elements of mysticism and spirituality, but I feel today that its main benefit is more scientific, as we've learned more about relaxation and meditation. I don't feel that the mystical element is that important to the benefits of transcendental meditation. So let me just get a few notes together here briefly. If you would give me your name. Okay. And how did you hear about this program? Okay. All right. And if you don't mind, your age. This is not to pry into your personal life. This is just for me to collect some data on how this affects different people and how we're drawn to this at different times. And that way, when we look back, ahead in the future, when I discuss some of this with you, we can look back and talk about what has changed and what's different in your life. Obviously, the person you are at 10 or 30 or 60 is very different. So that's fine. Okay. And have you ever used any other meditation techniques before? Progressive relaxation, ASMR? Okay. Those are all very good. The odd thing is that, again, as a child, my parents heard about a transcendental meditation program. Again, this was in the hippie 70s, and I think that was sweeping the globe in some ways. The Beatles and other celebrities that got involved in meditation. I believe this was before there was much science in that. Of course, meditation goes back probably thousands of years. But again, the way I was taught, it was a program. The elements are the same, but there were some aspects that were about the yogi and certain things that I don't feel today with additional reading and books that I've come across and just scientific study, that those really have a bearing on the meditation itself and the benefits that you get from the meditation. It's more the technique that relaxes you and the way the transcendent nature of bypassing thought to relax. So, all right. That's just why I ask, because, again, we all come from different avenues to and bring different things to everything that we do. I'm going to need there. And again, it's not that it's that important. It's just some info to kind of track and see as we move along how this has an effect on you, and at what point, again, had you meditated in the past and this kind of thing. So let's begin by just finding a comfortable position. You can sit, you can lie down. I've found that lying down often leads to sleep, and if that's your intention, that's fine. I really believe the benefit is greater by remaining awake for the meditation. And we're just going to set this up as a 20-minute meditation. And I'm just going to give you the technique, and then you can do this meditation. Recommended, it would be great if you had time to do it twice a day. Most of us find that difficult to squeeze into our otherwise busy lives. Once a day, I think, can also work wonders. So there are times that I would meditate in the morning and I would meditate again in the evening. I think that was beneficial. It just, again, it's difficult sometimes to schedule when you wake up in the morning with just barely time to get ready and get to work and get your day going. Again, we all need to slow down. I'm speaking to myself here as much as anyone else. So find a comfortable position. You can take a minute here to kind of wiggle everything loose until you have found that spot. Sometimes it takes a minute. You sit down and you get comfortable and your arm isn't right and your leg isn't quite where you want it. It's fine. Let's go ahead and move everything until you feel you've found what is comfortable to you. Again, you've probably seen images of people sitting cross-legged on the floor, various positions. That's fine if you're comfortable. Cross-legged for me is in no way comfortable. So again, I usually just sit in a very comfortable chair. The very first time I meditated was in an attic in an old rocking chair. And it was perfect and a life-changing experience, and remains with me to this day as a turning point in a lot of ways, how I changed and took on daily tasks. Not to get entirely personal as you're kind of settling in here, but as a child, I had somewhat of a temper, and meditation really helped me a lot with that, really helped me let a lot of that go. I could probably spend an hour just talking about various benefits through my life, just coping with the daily things that we all face, and just relaxing and letting go of all that. So, but we can get to more of that later. Today we're going to just dive right in, and we're going to experience it, and you will have your own take and your own opinion and feelings on what this does for you. So again, let's get completely relaxed. And I want you to just breathe naturally and focus on your breathing. This may sound a bit odd, but you're going to focus on your breathing until you don't focus on your breathing. There's a point, it seems, when you can't stop thinking about your breathing once you start, and you're pacing it and the rhythm of your breathing, and we're going to focus on that until that fades into the background. It's an odd thing, but we focus on something until we're able to let it go. So at this time, again, just begin to focus on your breathing, just very relaxed, breathing in and breathing out. Every time you breathe out, if you will imagine your entire body, head to toe, just relaxing, in a way collapsing, just all of the muscles just letting go, completely letting go of everything. This is a time when all of the thoughts of the day, things from work and bills and the car that doesn't run, all of that stuff, we're going to let that go. This is your time. This is a break, a 20-minute break for you to put that aside, to just let all of that go. We don't have to think about any of it. We don't have to solve any of it. At this time, this is your time to simply relax. So again, focusing on your breathing, you may notice parts of your body, your hands and legs feeling heavier and feeling heavier. That's fine. There's not any specific feeling that you're aiming for here, just to be relaxed. Now we're going to use what is called a mantra. Again, I don't feel there's any mystical meaning to these mantras. I know that goes against how Transcendental Meditation is often taught, but it's more that it is a meaningless word, more a sound that will allow you to focus on something consciously as we completely relax. And we're, again, just like breathing, we're going to focus on this mantra, this word, until we don't focus on it, until we lose focus on it. You're going to feel like time may slip as if you fell asleep, but you will not most likely fall asleep. If you're sitting up, you will be entering deeper states of consciousness. You'll move from your aware state into the alpha state and possibly go deeper and deeper, almost to the level of sleep, to I believe that's the delta wave state. That's not that important. We're just relaxing. What we call it in definitions has no real bearing on the benefits that we'll get and how we feel. So again, this is the time we're going to let go of everything. And the mantra that we're going to choose is Eem. You've probably seen the traditional Om as a mantra. I believe that's been used so much that it has developed a connotation as being a meaningful, mystical meditation word. Doesn't really matter. There are people that meditate with the word love or the word one. I think they get the exact same results. We're just looking for a word that doesn't really have any type of meaning that we begin to try to think about and associate things with while we're relaxing, while we're meditating. So our word is Eem. Again, Eem. If we were to spell it, it would look something like E-M, assuming that we're going to analyze it to that point. But the sound of the word, which we won't speak, what we'll imagine the sound of the word mentally, as if spoken mentally, is Eem. And again, all we do with this meditation is repeat the mantra. And what will happen is, again, you're going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it out loud, but this is indicative of you mentally repeating the mantra. Eem. 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 And what is going to happen, I found, is initially you'll notice that there's a timing to the repetition, and you'll start trying to adjust your breathing to fit this timing. There's an odd, somewhat uncomfortable spot that happens to me quite often at the beginning of meditation, where I feel like my breathing is trying to find a rhythm that works with the repetition of the mantra. This is not important. It will fade into the background. And what will happen is, when you lose your conscious thought of the mantra, that is entirely okay. That is part of the meditation. You'll drop deeper, and you may have some thoughts. You may have somewhat intrusive thoughts. Something may come into your mind about the green grass that needs to be cut or anything else. Once you notice that you've lost the mantra, you're going to just begin again. That is part of the meditation. In the initial minutes, that will happen, and it's not that it's frustrating, but you'll begin also to feel like you're trying to adjust. I lost track of the mantra. I need to stay. No, you don't need to. You're going to repeat the mantra mentally. If you lose the mantra, that is part of the meditation. Thoughts will come and thoughts will go. When you realize that you have not been repeating the mantra, you will begin again. It's just as simple as that. And it is part of the meditation. So, if you would, just for a moment now, and again, I recommend that after this video, you find a time to start again once you have this technique, and you set a timer of some sort for about 20 minutes. You will probably be surprised how fast the 20 minutes will pass, because again, you're dipping into these deep states of consciousness, almost unconsciousness. It's an unusual feeling, and again, it's very relaxing. When you finish, there are things about it that, again, it's not going to make you a superhuman, or it's not a superpower, but it is very calming. It is very relaxing. It takes away a lot of the edge that I think a lot of us deal with on a daily basis, that we build up this angst and anxiety, and we certainly know that this is not good for us. So again, our mantra is Eem. I'm going to repeat it just a couple times out loud, and then I will stop repeating it. I want you to continue Again, if you lose the mantra, that is entirely fine. That's part of the meditation. And then you'll come back to it, and we will meditate for about 10 minutes that way. I will just sit quietly meditating as well. I will set a timer for 10 minutes. And this will just get the intro. You may notice again the rhythm of your breathing, the rhythm of the mantra, some of these things. You may have an itch on your hand. That's fine. You can move. It's not going to destroy your meditation if you move, or if you have to open an eye for a second. That's not going to ruin your meditative state. You can get right back to it again. Again, pick up the mantra and allow yourself to just relax and let that repeat, and let it come and go, and let thoughts come and go. But when you become aware that thoughts have overtaken the mantra, you're going to start again, repeating the mantra. So we'll begin now. Again, completely relaxed, comfortable. Everything has found a place to just relax for the next 10 minutes. I'm comfortable where I'm sitting, and I can sit comfortably for 10 minutes. And I will begin the mantra now. Eem, 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 eem. That's our 10-minute timer. And again, you can revisit this at another time. You may want to journal or just jot down a few notes about how you feel going into a meditation and how you feel coming out, just how your experience plays out, how the effect that it has on you. If you noticed going in, I noticed when we started that I could feel tension in my shoulders, and oddly, also in my jaw and my face. I had a kind of a tense day today, and I didn't really realize it, like we often don't. But as I began to meditate and relax, I could feel the tension in my face relaxing. So it may help you to, again, make some notes just so that you can pay attention to what the benefits are and how this works for you, what things about your experience may differ from my experience or someone else's experience. We're all very unique. I think the relaxation works for everybody and is beneficial to anyone, but how that plays out can be different depending on the person. I encourage you to try this out for some length of time, at least perhaps a couple of months, just to see. I think there is obviously some benefit to one session, and there's greater benefit to 2 sessions, and there's much, much greater benefit to a few weeks or a few months of these repeated sessions. You will find yourself looking forward to these meditation sessions. This is your time to stop. And there's something about having time to yourself, for creating time that the world normally steals so much away from us. And this is our, not selfish, but our chance to reclaim a moment of our time that's not for doing anything else. We often multitask so many different things, and this is a time when we are going to do absolutely nothing. It's just, as you might feel, wasting time, even though it's not wasting time, but it's just relaxing. And again, I speaking from experience, I think the benefits you're going to find are well worth carving out 20 minutes each day just to meditate. I encourage you to, down the road, possibly look at, there are various different techniques and various forms of meditation. They are all uniquely different, but at the same time, they are all forms of relaxation. And depending on different times and different aspects of what's happening in life, you may find that one works better than the other one. There's just a lot of variety to that. But again, Transcendental Meditation has been around for many, many years and practiced by many. And I'm only promoting it for the simple reason that it's something I've used and I've benefited from it and I've wanted to share it. That's the only reason. Again, I don't feel there's any real mystical or spiritual necessarily. I suppose there could be some spirituality to relaxing and getting in touch with yourself in a deeper form, sure, that's fine. You're going to define that based on your life, not based on what I tell you. This is just the technique for transcendental meditation, for relaxation. And you can get from it what you feel. Again, your experience will be very similar to mine, but it will also be very different and uniquely yours. So this will conclude our Transcendental Meditation guided how-to video. Again, I encourage you to give this a try for some length of time and pay attention to the effects that it has on your daily life, as we might say, your waking and walking life throughout the day. If you feel more rested, if you feel more alert, if you feel more anything, calm, these are some of the things that, some of the experiences that I've had from meditation. So until the next video, thank you for meditating with me, and I wish you the very best.